close to the seabed. Drill pipe, riser, and surface facing. This is a surface, seabed surface. This is a tree, EOP something. And then this can be a ROV. Saying skid from belly skid for ROV winch can handle a keel hose. These are configurations. Drill fluid and drill bit is same thing covered but different views. And production riser. This is a pipe. But there is a different configuration. Anyway, you can see that there should be a separate pipe for production oil or gas, and gas lift, and chemical injection. Control line is electronics, electrical, and then riser is outside. Right? And then insulation. Insulation is for keeping temperature or some pressure. And diameter is around 21 inch. And there are layers of outer side is also, because it is must be flexible and also strong. And this is a picture I took from when I visit ABS. ABS is American Bureau of Shipping, registered company in Houston, Texas, 10 years ago. They display a sample of riser. And risers should be flexible enough. Because of this is a, say, 1 kilometer or 1,000 meter length, and the weight itself is very big, including fluid inside. 1 kilometer of the pipe weight is very big, so that the tension, and this is the biggest point for tension, right? Because weight is going down, and it is very big. The tension can be, stress level is big, so to reduce the stress level, they use different ideas. They give you some buoyancy first, bubble or some sphere, so that they support the weight to reduce stress level in the connection, to reduce the size or thickness of the pipe. So there are ideas. So distributed buoyancy, they want to reduce the weight. Also, there is a wave, and then also flotation attached to the riser. So to reduce thickness, so there are modules, something like this one. One example. Clamps require buoyancy module to make connection. All the other buoyancy modules bigger. Right. To have shell, you should have a bolting system, clamping, and hybrid risers. Concept of hybrid risers. So you have to see that risers coming from the bed, and then there is some supporting point because of the buoyancy first there, and then they go another way. And also they help to reduce motion between pipe and ship itself. They have some accordion style cushion there. So flexible jumpers. Because this is a pipe, steel pipe, right? Steel pipe made of steel. So pipe itself should be very strong. When you see the only small section, it should be a steel pipe. But in a long series of 1,000 meters, it can be looks like a very flexible. And there is a problem like a ductile burst sample. So if it is bursting here, then what happens? The oil is coming out from this here. So oil leak is coming. So it should be protected somehow. So how can you do that? Or how can you check before it is burst out? It should be the other samples, little burst. The other one is ductile burst. The shape near this burst is different. This is a brittle burst. Sample cases and also failures. Tree, Christmas tree, age, fitting, caused by opening the well or valve or something. Or something like erosion is happening around. So there are many cases of failures. And flow line, depressurized, below minimum. So also this is burst. Because of pressure, it is very similar to our blood line in the brain. If it is burst out, there is happening in our, say, the old people. There is a case, right? The blood is leaking inside the brain, so they can kill brain cell. This is very similar. Also, there is a blocking. This is coming from the blocking of the flow, right? Flow line inside the blood vessel. Very similar. There is a blocking mechanism there. Corrosion protection. Corrosion can be also happening. This is because of salt accumulation. They accelerate the corrosion speed. And also there is electrochemical interaction. This is corrosion itself is an electrochemical interaction. So because of the salt components, the speed is higher than the land side. Okay. Question? No question. Hi.
Stand by your statement that carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases are not dangerous at all to our environment.
CO2 in the atmosphere has none characteristics of food that we contaminate and thousands and all of that that's had direct and can have direct impact on human health as an atmospheric gas. It's a plant nutrient.
Are you aware of anything that is happening in the oceans that relates to fossil fuel emissions?
There are probably a number of them.
Name a few.
I have a very superficial understanding.
I particularly was concerned.
So, she was nominated as an environment minister by Trump, and she didn't know anything about the pollution in the oceans or in the atmosphere. So, actually, my discussion was scheduled before the project proposal presentations. So, what's the pollution? It is the introduction of anything that contaminates our natural habitat. It is according to Wikipedia. So there can be the following types of pollution: soil, light, water, noise, thermal, radioactive, and there could be marine pollution now, as you all know. So this is a very good video with respect to marine pollution. I will ask a question related to this video. So what are the types of marine pollution? As you have seen the video.
Plastic pollution.
It's plastic. Are there any kind of
Maybe this pollution caused by oil spilling.
okay. Anything else?
Or the pesticides that we use are because of this.
If there can be any other type of pollution in the marine environment other than this?
I'm not sure if you can count it as a pollution, but if we have a shipwreck, like the whole ship is actually a cause of pollution because of its rust and other stuff. That's not the ship.
Actually, shipwreck covers all types of pollution. So, anyone? Actually, there can be other type of pollutions like underwater noise and toxins, which we have not considered yet. Actually, in the deep sea, it should be quiet, but there is a lot of noise as you go in the deep sea. So it is a pollution and toxins. Uh, these can be covered in the pesticides and in other radioactive materials. What could be the effects of marine pollution on the economy of a country?
Yeah, for instance, if they're doing fish farming or if they're fishing, it's actually more like a cycle. The fishermen, they pollute the seas and then it reduces the amount of the fish. And next year they get less fish and they don't stop polluting the sea without like acknowledging this problem. So it could cause with a basic term, fishing, for instance, if they have an economic thing with fishing. Yeah.
Okay. Could there be any number related to how you can say that it will affect to some extent, like 50% decrease in the shipping economy or something like that? Can you guess that?
Can you repeat it?
My question is that how much would it affect, like 10%, 20%?
Yearly. Like,
Yeah, any guess?
maybe two. It could actually affect maybe half of it. Not sure. I'm not sure. Just guessing.
Yeah. Actually, I have no idea about. That's why I'm taking the risk.
I think marine pollution can have an effect on travel economy, like Boracay.
Can you guess them? Can you please guess a number?
Number.
Yeah.
I heard that Boracay is totally limited to foreigners, so almost 100%. It's either yes or no.
Okay.
Maybe for the ship, for the container carriers, like I'm not sure if they can cruise through this garbage, like how you call it, the garbage island.
Garbage patch, yeah.
Yeah, so they have to change their routes, which will cost them
Yeah.
much more time and
Time
increase
and
the duration.
fuel.
Yeah, fuel. Time and
Actually, time is more important.
yeah.
Any other guess?
Marine pollution can also affect the beauty of our beaches, and in turn it will affect the tourism. Recently, I think Thailand has closed its one famous beach, I forgot the name, just to let the beach recover from the human activity.
It also affects the isolated island that live near it, what they produce in the sea.
It also affects the human health because we are on the top of the nutrition pyramid. That's like we actually have the most harm of the pollution, but we don't realize it in the short term.
Anyone else? It is a study by Chinese in 2014 that the marine pollution, this could be the value of the marine industry, recreation, fishery, transport, non-uses, regulations and purification and research. This is the amount which we are putting, and this would be the outcome. So you can see the difference in millions of dollars. And the losses are also same in millions of dollars. And you are right, according to fishery, it is 50% as compared to industry end. So there are two questions. How can we clean oceans and how can we lower marine pollution?
To lower the marine pollution, I think there should be very strict regulations and sanctions for countries or companies who don't try to stop pollution. Yeah, strict regulations and sanctions for responsible.
Okay. What can one do at the personal level? Like you have two things, one plastic bottle and one plastic cup.
Yeah.
So what can one do? Like
We have to sort the waste and to recycle what we can recycle and burn what we cannot recycle.
yeah, but to reduce the weight.
Yeah, that's
Waste. But this is the same. To reduce the weight, they start lower the melting position. We have to do the lowering the waste.
The simplest and I think most feasible is to prevent waste from entering our oceans.
Yeah, like stricter regulations.
Mm, It could be awareness among the general public that how much amount is there in our ocean, so they may have an idea of this type of issue.
If we cannot change people's awareness, we should develop technology like gathering plastic underwater. Something like that.
Yeah, but plastic is one thing.
That's one thing.
Anyone? So, the second question, how to clean the oceans?
Some companies are already existing. In France, we have the same problem this year in Paris because of the rise of the water level. But some companies are existing and they come with big boats and they just absorb the plastic in big tanks that are getting in the water.
This would take years to capture the, like, a lot of plastic and other material. And in the meanwhile, we will be entering more plastic. In the meanwhile, we will be entering more plastic into the ocean. It's like we put more and
Yeah. I don't know.
Like maybe as we mentioned in one of the projects, that we could build some platforms in the ocean where we can process the plastic or the things in the ocean.
Yeah.
It makes actual sense. I also like that project.
actually that is only one or two projects or maybe 3 or 4 companies are doing that. But ocean is very big. Like 70% of the earth, so we have to do something better.
Like you mentioned the US government authorities, like the budget that they save for the military is huge. Maybe if they can like expand their budget to clean the oceans a little, just maybe 1%,
Yeah, that
the
is.
world would be a very better place. I'm not sure if they would do that. Maybe like the expansion of budgets of the countries for ocean cleaning.
Maybe this problem should be on the UN level.
Yeah.
So every country have to do some allocate some budget for it. And so these are the possible ways which these were also mentioned in a scientific paper. So, like as you have mentioned, target strict type of waste and target sources of waste most problematic. So I think that should be accounted for as well. What's already there, it is there, but if we can stop something coming in, then we can surely clean oceans. And it is not, but it will be a job. So, this is also a startup. So you can also make a startup in this area. This is it appears to be a pretty cheap robot, but it's working. And here is another solution, and it is also a company that is working. It is a fun video, but that's all.
Diving and manned underwater vehicles. As you see, today's topic is not that hard to understand, so just enjoy my lecture together. And let's think about why human was eager to explore underwater. Was it to catch a fish, to eat delicious meal, or to find the gold and jewelries underwater? I think that's maybe one of the solutions, but I think it's not. The main purpose was to experience and overcome their limits and to find about curious about ocean, and they just wanted to set a record like these and this. And this is just a part of contents of Wikipedia. I couldn't copy and paste all of it because it was history of diving was so long. And yeah, there's two human challenges there was. How deep we can go into the water and how long we can endure underwater. So from these two challenges, people have been made and developed these kind of diving suits. And recently, we can see three kinds of these diving suits. And let's see what diving gear exists recently. And I just prepared a video.
Choosing. It's important that you need to be able to see underwater. In order to achieve this purpose, snorkelers, scuba divers, and free divers all wear a mask. Now, a mask has the general purpose of providing an airspace in front of our eyes so that we can see underwater. And the most important thing to consider when buying a mask is its fit, because there's nothing worse than having water in your face all the time and taking all the fun out of your dive. One of the first pieces of equipment that most scuba divers are going to buy is going to be a pair of fins. Fins provide the basic method of propulsion underwater, so it's important that people pick a fin that fits their body type and strength. Before you jump in the water, one of the first things you're going to need is a snorkel. If you want to be able to keep your face in the water to see the fish below while snorkeling, or if you want to be able to rest at the surface while scuba diving, you're going to need to have this in your kit. Now, there are many different types and varieties of snorkels. Some are better for snorkeling, some are better for scuba diving, and some are preferred for free diving. So before you buy your snorkel, talk to somebody at your local dive store, and they'll help you make the best choice. Unless you're diving in a hot tub, diving in any type of water is going to be colder than your body temperature. Prolonged exposure to cooler water is going to strip heat away from your body. Therefore, scuba divers wear various types of exposure protection in order to make sure that they maintain an adequate level of comfort for the duration of their dive. Perhaps the most specialized and important piece of equipment in scuba is the scuba regulator. The scuba regulator consists of a first stage and a second stage. The purpose of a scuba diving regulator is to take high pressure air from a cylinder to ambient pressure in the diver's mouth. Typically when people dive, you will see that they also have a secondary regulator, typically called an octopus, which is a standard piece of equipment used in case of emergency. When buying a regulator, divers should take into consideration where they'll be diving, the type of diving they're going to be doing, and consult their local dive expert to make sure they pick a regulator that suits their needs. In scuba diving, there's critical information that a diver needs to have in order to monitor his dive and make sure that he stays within recreational no decompression limits. Nowadays, most scuba divers use computers. Computers are advantageous because they take all the guesswork out of diving, follow your exact profile while you're underwater, and give you the maximized bottom time that you have. They also work like a bit of an autopilot so that you can program them in order to alarm you when you've exceeded the maximum desired depth, when you're running low on air, or for any other various reason. Now, various models of computers exist. You can have consoles, which will connect to the first stage of your regulator. You can also have wrist mount computers, and nowadays computers are even done in watch mounted models. Another key component to the scuba diving equipment is going to be the BCD, or buoyancy control device. A BCD allows a diver to control their buoyancy underwater, therefore maintaining neutrality and not ascending or descending at uncontrolled rates. In order to ensure that scuba divers have air while they're underwater, scuba divers dive with a scuba cylinder. Scuba cylinders come in many different shapes and sizes, and you can buy one or rent one wherever you go in order to suit your diving conditions. So in summary, when you're considering your dive equipment, the first things you want to buy are mask fit and snorkel. This will also serve you on your vacation in case you just want to go snorkeling instead of underwater with your scuba equipment. As you progress, you're going to want to make sure that you consider proper exposure protection in a wet or a dry suit. You're also going to want to consider proper regulators and octopus, and a computer to help make sure that you stay within your dive limits. You're also going to need a buoyancy control device or vest, and this will ensure that you enjoy your vacation or your diving locally to the max.
And even though we have perfect diving gear, there exist diving hazards. First one is carbon dioxide excess. If diver want to, or sometimes they have to stay in the water for a long time, they hold their breath sometimes. So they slow down their breath speed. So it can cause their body to have lower oxygen rates and higher carbon dioxide rate. So it can cause dizziness or sometimes unconsciousness to the diver. And second one is gas narcosis, also Korean known as 잠수병. Does anyone know about Henry's law? Henry's law. We learned it in high school. 헨리의 법칙 아시는 분 계세요? Henry's law. I think we should go back to high school. And is the law between air pressure and dissolve rate. I mean, in the deep water, pressure is really high, so gas can dissolve well underwater. So in the tank, nitrogen exists to have same composition with air, and this nitrogen in the tank can overly dissolve in our body. And when diver come up the surface very fast, it can make air bubbles in our body, and it can harm divers. So it can be really dangerous. So do we have to expose our body underwater? Do you think? I think it's not. We can make some structure that protects our body from the water, and from this, diving bell came out. Diving bell's concept is really easy. It's just a structure that protects our body, and air can go into here, and used air can go out from here, and we can regulate the depth of diving bell by rope. And from this, we can also think that submarine and submersibles. Submarine and submersibles are separated because of the usage. Submarine is often used for military purpose, and submersibles often used for research and commercial things. And I prepared another video, how submarines work.
Submarine has a sleek cigar-shaped body that enables it to move swiftly underwater. A pressure hull made of high-strength metal contains the submarine's crew, machinery, and most or all weapons, preventing them from being crushed by the pressure of the water at deep depth. A submarine has tanks built into the bow and stern called the main ballast tanks. The sections of the bow and stern containing the tanks are not usually surrounded by a pressure hull. In order for the submarine to dive, the main ballast tanks are flooded with seawater. The added weight causes the ship to lose its ability to stay on the surface of the water, and it submerges. Movable surfaces on the outside of the submarine control its movement beneath the water. These surfaces are horizontal diving planes and vertical rudders at the stern, and a forward set of diving planes either on the bow or on the sail structure. To dive, the diving planes at the stern are tilted down. As the submarine is propelled forward, the flow of water over the tilted planes causes the submarine to glide downward. The rudders steer the ship. Crewmen can turn the rudder to the left or right to make the submarine change course. To move the submarine upward, the stern diving planes are angled up. The diving planes at the bow or sail are used to help keep the submarine at a precise depth while near the surface, especially when launching missiles or when raising an antenna or periscope above the surface.
Okay, and I prepared another video that separates the submarines by two types. One is diesel submarine, and another one is nuclear submarine.
I'm Josh Clark, and this is the Brain Stuff, where I explain to you a little bit about diesel submarines. Now, I know you're out there walking around thinking everything's hunky-dory with our submarine fleet if you live in a country that has a navy, but did you know that there's a war going on between what type of submarine is better? Yeah, follow me with this. Diesel submarines are pretty prevalent all across the world, but here's the spit take. They need air to function. So how do diesel submarines work if they need air, but, as is the common characteristic of submarines everywhere, they need to stay underwater for prolonged periods of time? Here's the answer, and it's so obvious you're going to feel silly for not thinking of it. Batteries. That's right. Diesel submarines are pretty much hybrid vehicles. When they run their diesel engines, the batteries are charged. The batteries power electric motors that run the propeller and all that kind of thing. Every once in a while, when the batteries get low, a diesel submarine has to surface so it can run its diesel engines, charge its batteries, and then slip back down. Either the submarine has to surface completely, or they run up a little snorkel called the snort. Snort. The problem is, if you are on a sub and you have to surface or come close enough to run your snort up, that means you are at a greater risk of being captured or sunk. Anyone who's ever played the game Battleship knows it's way easier when you can see where the submarine is, you know what I'm saying? So to solve this problem, people came up with the nuclear submarine. The nuclear-powered submarine doesn't rely on oxygen for combustion like a diesel engine does, which means it can stay submerged indefinitely, or at least until the submarine crew all loses their minds. The problem is with nuclear subs, even though they're way faster than diesel submarines, is that they're more expensive. You can buy something like 2 to 4 diesel subs for the price of 1 nuclear sub. And they're also louder. You have to keep running your engines in a nuclear sub. With a diesel sub, once the batteries are charged, you're just zipping along, sounding like Prius, you know? And you can sit silently with all of your engines off on the sea floor and go pretty much unnoticed if you want. Can't do that in a nuclear sub. Plus, in a diesel submarine, the crew, they may have black lung from inhaling any of the fumes, but at least they're not going to have the healthy green glow like you will probably on a nuclear sub. You know what I'm saying? So which one's better, a nuclear sub or a diesel sub? They both have their pros and their cons, And really, isn't this the question that every human being is faced with at some point in their lifetime?
Okay, to sum up, we cannot separate diesel submarine and nuclear submarine by looking only at appearance, but when we look at the engine, these two kinds of submarines are totally different. So, can you give me answer which type is more silent? Which type is more silent? Diesel submarine, that's right. And which one can stay longer underwater? Nuclear submarine, that's right. So I have one question that which one is better for Korean Navy? Can you guess? For Korean Navy. Diesel submarine, that's right. Diesel submarine is good for Korean Navy because Korean Sea is not that wide to protect, and also there is a possibility of war anytime, so we have to be silent in the ocean. So diesel submarine might be better one. And finally, I prepared a video just for fun that shows us personal submarines. It's really,
Number 10,
I think it's really
the D-Flight Super Falcon is described as an underwater plane. It is built with 8.8 feet wide wings, and it can reach a depth of 1,600 feet underwater. It drastically differs from a submarine as it doesn't just sink and rise, but instead uses a downward lift motion. The engine is said to be so quiet, it attracts sea life. Number 9, the Migaloo is built as the ultimate luxe sub. It offers upscale amenities like a pool, helipad, and large deck for relaxation. Measuring over 375 feet long by 36 feet wide, the submarine is anything but small. It bears the appearance of a traditional submarine in most aspects, but the tower is custom designed in order to house a staircase and elevator shaft. Number 8. The Triton 3300 by 3 is a pretty radical sub. Designed to be eye-catching, the submersible can carry a pilot and 2 passengers along for an underwater ride to depths up to 3,300 feet. Number 7. Defying typical subs, Island Water Sports Hawaii offers visitors and residents the chance to explore the ocean on submarine scooters. The tour company elaborated on the crafts, noting, "Our underwater submarine scooters will allow you to view the marvels of the sea while effortlessly riding your very own self-propelled, eco-friendly electric scooter." Number 6. The Rindspeed Scuba is one serious multifunctional vehicle. It doubles as a car and sub.
I think it is unnecessary.
Into the water and plunge up to depths of
Waste of
30
money.
feet. Given the open top design, it's bizarre that a wetsuit isn't included with the car. However, a tank of compressed air is built in to help passengers breathe underwater. Number 5. The Innispace Sea Breacher is a force to be reckoned with. The crafts are designed in various forms. Some are made to replicate whales, sharks, or dolphins. Described as a diving machine, the submersible watercrafts plunge below the water and jump out and into the air similar to the movements of your favorite sea creatures. Number 4. The bizarre cube-shaped EGO compact semi-submarine definitely lands a spot on the compilation. While it can be used as a traditional boat that floats on top of the water surface, the EGO compact can partly submerge to give seagoers awesome underwater views. Number 3. The Platypus submarine is another double-tasking beauty. It can cruise both on top and below the water. Riders sit on the central hull, which is flanked by a pair of pontoons that are connected by 4 horizontal arms. Depending on the position of the arms, the Platypus can travel on the water like a jet ski or dive underwater. Number 2, the Sequester 3 submersible by U-Boat Works is described by the company as a robust, spacious, and easy-to-handle submersible. Capable of seating 3 people, it comes equipped with an air conditioning system. The craft can stay underwater for a total of 8 hours and reach depths of over 320 feet. Number 1, it's the concept behind a submarine hotel called Lover's Deep that really stands out. While most people are familiar with the meaning of the Mile High Club, this upscale sub aims to gain popularity for the Mile Low Club, offering lovers the opportunity to have intimate time deep in the ocean right next to stunning sea life.
Okay, that's all, and thank you for listening. On ocean engineering, and covered undersea exploration and manned underwater submarines. You can find that the submarine is very similar to airplane in terms of operational motion. Right? One difference is the size of control pin is smaller, much smaller than airplane.
because of the density of the water. You can get bigger force, control force, using smaller field than airplane. Unmanned underwater system is my portion. No person. So there are two kinds, ROV and UAV. So ROV is operated by human or far away over the ocean surface. So there is a categorization of ROV and AUV. And hybrid is a mixture of two. So there is two big categories. One big difference is tethering. The tether line, similar to umbilical to baby. So they need to have a cable up to the surface. That is one constraint or support. AUV does not have, so they need to have their own power source, like as a battery. There is a big difference. Towed, free swimming. This is a subcategories. Bottom crawling, propeller powered, glider. So power source is the most important difference. So tethered with a pipe or cable up to the surface, you can get power line, also control line together, control and up. So ROV has that kind of cable up to the surface so that human can control. It can capture video stream coming from the camera and then using the cable up to the screen monitor on the surface. So you can watch the bottom surface, seabed, and then he can control it. But for the self-powered system AUV, they need to have a battery or fuel cell. And the autonomy or self-decision or artificial intelligence, you can say. Fully autonomous, so there is no intervention by human operator, so that they accomplish the mission. Mission is done, so you can go to the other store to bring me apple. That kind of mission is given to him. The robot is moving toward that he can decide where to go and how to go and then how to collect them. Right? This is a mission, but the scope should be clear without human intervention. Semi-autonomous, there can be a human operator conducting some mission. So there is a minimum set of self-decision, and human-robot interaction is important. And teleoperation, no, there is no mission, but there is a very small incremental goals. And video feedback is important for human operator. Remote control is very similar, but there's no without any sensory. Communication and power line is going together, right? The cable. So hardwired cable communication, either electrical or fiber optics. And also, it can be acoustic communication. So there is no cable. Right? By underwater analog or digital modem. So that autonomous vehicle need to have such acoustic communication. No cable. Okay. Optical communication and radio frequency cable is limited. So only on the surface it is working. Optical communication is working. So smartphone you cannot use underwater. Your smartphone cannot use. So only acoustic. We will see that underwater acoustic chapter next class. And radio frequency also is not working. Wi-Fi is not working. Only near the surface. Only several meters is working. Not 10 meters. So ROV, there is a USA depth capability is 6,000 and weight is 3 tons, so it's a bit small. Right? Small. And Japan JAMSTEC is also depth capability 7,000, weight is rather big, around 6 tons. Right? This is 3 tons, 6 tons. Right? And depth is a little bit higher. And this is Korea, 6,000, 3 or 4 tons, very similar range. There are another one from Korea, but this is only specialized for mining of manganese modules. 5,000. Imagine they can crawl under the seabed to collect manganese modules. Okay. And toadfish. This is looks like a fish, but it is towed by a surface boat. It is for, say, survey or catching radar, or not radar, acoustic radar, to search out their seabed to find out some precious oil or gas or manganese modules. They are surveying and making a map of the seabed and underwater surface. AUB is autonomous. There is no cable. The other ROVs, they have all cables. They all have a cable. Oh, this is we already see the cables. ROV has a cables. You can see some cables here already. But AUB does not have cables. But this is a very limited mission. So maximum diameter, length, and weight, small, very small, right? And endurance is important because of the battery power. Only 10 hours. Or also, Kongsberg is a very famous company in Norway. This is a little bit bigger, right? 1 ton. And operating depth is 1,000 meters. And also, endurance is 24 hours, 1 day. And speed of 2 meters per second. Odyssey, a little bit bigger, 8 hours, 3,000. And then another USA, 500, 20 hours. And Japan has 10 ton. It's a big one, right? Big one. 3,000 is similar. As distance, only distance, not time, hours. At 3 knots and 300 kilometers. So it can be, say, 50 hours, something. 50 hours. Because it's a big one, it can carry more batteries. So it can be also higher speed and smaller ones. Korea, small one, very small. And distance is only 10 kilometers. This is saying 300 kilometers. Operating depth is also small. It's very limited. Professor Kim Jin-wan will have a lecture, separate lecture on the schedule. He is specialized in AUB, so you can get more ideas coming from this. He is specialized in underwater robotics. Semi-AUBs. This is also Korea. Semi-autonomous underwater. This is University of Harvard. And glider is very interesting one. Glider. See, this is coming from USA. You see that the range is very long, right? 5,000 kilometers. How it operates? They use buoyancy force using small battery and pump so that they have a buoyancy change. They are going up near the surface. And then they turn off all the pumps and battery and then gliding down very slowly and moving using very similar to air glide so that they can arrive at the bottom for far longer hours and more distance. But they may use battery because of the camera or communication purpose. Because they want to collect information around the surroundings. So it is for scientific missions. So you can use battery power wisely, longer stage. That is interesting idea. So this is another glider system, 30 days. And also they use electrical battery and also they use some. This is for years, right? Years, days. Sometimes it can be used for several years. So it just use energy to going up using a bubble buoyancy force, static force. Very slow, moving slow, but it stays long. Mission classification, what can be used for AUV and ROV? AUV is usually used for survey and exploration, scientific, monitoring, inspection, like this one. But ROV is because of the cable, the range is limited, but also they have a higher power because of the cable, and communication is good. Right? So they can be used for industrial purpose, installation, construction, repair, and maintenance. The real work is used by, done by ROVs. But this one is for scientific monitoring. Also, sometimes they can be used for military purpose. Okay? That is a big difference. But this mission should be small and shorter. This can be heavier industrial purpose because of the power consumption, operational, and intelligence control. Science mission, oceanographic research, and environmental monitoring, metric surveys. This is a mapping of the seabed surface. Archaeology, the history. This is for AUV as well. And sometimes it is military missions for AUV, self-propelled, intelligence, anti-submarine, minefield operation, mapping. Industrial missions, they must be, most of them are ROVs, including digging, construction under the seabed. So oil and gas, CO2 strategy, renewable energy, construction. And in vehicle autonomy is AUV, right? AUV. First generation, second generation, third generation, they say UUV rather than AUV. UUV is unmanned undertaking. So more higher level of autonomy. Right. So we have 10 minutes. So what is your machine? Yeah. Okay. I'm trying. Or it can delay.
Yeah.
What is your choice?
Not
the ecological and social issues. So I like to ask a question. Do you have any idea of which country holds the record of greenhouse gas emission? You relate?
Highest or lowest?
The highest. The highest. The worst one. Which one?
America.
America? We think America?
England.
England?
Maybe China.
China?
France.
No, it's not. No way. No way. Okay, the record is for China. China is the worst one, and in fact, thanks to the COP21 in Paris in 2015, so 3 years ago, a lot of countries took the engagement of reducing their CO2 emission, and most of these countries are this one. The problem is that even if these countries can lower their CO2 emission, the emerging countries like in Africa will higher their CO2 emissions. So it's not going to decrease in the next years. I hope it will, but apparently it doesn't. So do you have any idea of what is the first consequence of the rising of greenhouse emission? It's pretty obvious. Which one?
Rise in temperature.
Yeah, exactly. Rise in temperature. CO2 emission and greenhouse gases emission leads to atmospheric warming, so the temperature rises. And the problem is that we observe the melting of the ice cap and the rising of the water levels. And do you know how high the water will rise by 2100? Do you have any idea?
10 meters.
10 meters? It's a lot. It's huge. 1.5 meters in 80 years. So it's not so far, but do you have any idea of how it will higher by 2,500? 15 meters, yeah. Yeah, so it's pretty huge. And I will give you some concrete example. For example, this is Rotterdam, and you can see Rotterdam in 80 years and in 300 years. All the Netherlands with Rotterdam and Amsterdam will be underwater. And this is in New York. So you can see that a big part of New York will be underwater also. And this is Guangzhou in China, also a disaster. And this is in Korea, in Incheon. You have a beautiful new airport with a new terminal, but maybe in 100 and maybe in 300 years, your airport will be underwater if we don't build anything. The problem is that if you build something against higher of water level, it will not be good for the environment. And we have also some social issues like the rising of the population. For example, we will be more than 9 billion in 2050 and maybe 12 billion in 2100. So we have more and more inhabitants in the world, and in the same time less space to live on the earth. So it's a big problem. And we can also add the fact that maybe by 2050, 70% of the population will live in seaside towns. So maybe these towns will be underwater in 100 years. So these environmental and social issues lead to different projects, such as flooding cities. And here's an example of a kind of these cities in Amsterdam in the Netherlands.
Half boat, half house. These hybrid homes make up a brand new district of Amsterdam, Eiberg, an artificial island just a few kilometers from the city centre, and now home to 55 floating family homes and another 20 houses on stilts. Locals like Willem Blokker enjoy feeling so close to nature.
Het is ongelooflijk stil.
We're so quiet and light here. And you're much more aware of the elements. You can hear the rain beating down on the roof. And whenever there's a storm, you can see lightning illuminating the skies.
So Amsterdam is a small example, a simple example, because it's very new, but the concept maybe will be developed to something bigger in the next years. So this is a video imagined by architects and civil engineer for a French company. The name is Bouygues Construction. And they imagine the city, the future city with a skyscraper, but also a city underwater. And you'll see just after. So this is floating city, and this is the underwater cities with also skyscraper or thing like this. So for now, it's just a concept, but before showing you some advanced example, I'd like to talk with you about what do you think about floating city? Do you think it's a potential to develop or it is a utopia? So we have two types of arguments. So positive arguments, and you can say, what do you think, what do you hope for a floating city? And what do you think that are the advantages of a floating city? And also, what do you think it's a utopia, and why do you think it's not possible to do that? So, if you have some ideas for floating cities or against floating cities. Yeah.
As an advantage, like you can actually plan a floating city very well, which can make the human life very simple and very fast and very convenient. So living on these very good planned floating cities would be very easy for us.
Easy to live.
It will be very convenient.
Yeah. Oh.
No traffic problems, no.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. The atmosphere is very good also. Yeah.
I think it has a disadvantage because of the environmental issues such as tsunami or something disaster. The city is hard to enjoy.
Hard to enjoy because of
disaster, such as tsunami or.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So natural damages and okay.
But the tsunami would not hit the city; it only hits the coast. It's not on the coast.
But some waves are hit the.
It can be on the coast. It can be. It depends on where it is. Yeah. But you have also some disaster in the sea. Yeah, it's true.
I think the floating space, another problem is the mosquitoes.
The mosquitoes, yeah.
The mosquitoes, their baby is born from the water.
Yeah, because of humidity also maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What could be the problem to the environment of marine life? It may disturb the environment of marine life.
Yeah, it's true. Like this. Yeah.
There may be a problem of making drinking water.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but today we already have some solution. For example, in Africa, they put some pills in the water and it makes drinking water. So maybe we can do this with seawater. Yeah. Do you have any positive arguments? Yeah.
I think the floating cities can be a utopia for fisher.
For fisher, yeah, it's good for fishing. So.
Yeah.
Good for tourism.
Yeah, also. Okay, so what you said is true. Another thing is that we have some way to house a lot of people in floating cities. And like you say, for fishing, for agriculture, for farming, it's pretty easy because you have the water all around you. And it's also easy to live, and you have the light of the water. And you also can insulate your cities thanks to the water properties. The problem is of the durability and the ocean pollution also, you're right. And it's quite difficult to insulate floating cities. And in a city, you have some electrical parts, so it's difficult to insulate. It's very expensive for now. And the main problem is a legal problem because some people are investing in the problem of individual property. You cannot build your own cities in international sea. So it's a major issue today. So now we'll see some projects that are developing today. For this one is Greenfield. So Greenfield is a project that was designed as a carbon neutral city, and it's a bunch of island. I had another. Yeah. It's a bunch of islands that are connected, and at the center of each island would be an eco skyscraper that will have multi-uses, including offices, farming, and residences. And each island can house between 10,000 to 50,000 people, so it's pretty huge. And this project is Harvest City. Harvest City was designed by the architect who wanted to find a way to help Haiti after the devastating earthquake. So they created Harvest City, and the outer part of this city is for farming and agriculture, and the inner part is for a commercial center and housing and industry also. So it's going, maybe it could be developed in the next 40 years. This project is standing. I'm pretty attached to this project because it's for the French Polynesia. So enter to the seabed, the floating city should contain housing or shopping center also. And its inhabitants should produce their own energy and treat their own waste. So this project is going to be developed by a company in the Silicon Valley, and the French inhabitants of this island are pretty attached to this project because it's a way for their students to be in touch with the big inventors of the Silicon Valley, and it's a way to fight the brain drain of Polynesians who leave the island to find work. So it's pretty important for them. And the main project for today is ICORA, the name is also Lily Park. Yeah. So this is a project developed by a Belgian architect. His name is Vincent Caillebout. It's a well-known project because these cities were designed for people, for refugees of global warming. And each island could house between 20,000 and 50,000 people. And the lily pad, it's this one, would release zero emission and would be powered by renewable energies only, and using solar or wind or biomass energy. And ICORA is made up of tentacles that make their own energy underwater. I have a video of ICORA. So this city would be made by additive printing from packaged algoplast and also algae. And so they can make this material by the waste that are contained in the ocean. So today you can think it's a utopia, but the feasibility of algoplast is currently under study in Berkeley University. So it's not so utopia. And the living condition could be really good on this island. It's pretty useful for agriculture and farming because you have the water all around you, and you can also produce energy in the seabed, and use this energy in the island. It's very designed, but it's just a concept. So here are my references. So to conclude, I hope you learned something about floating cities, but above all, I hope you have become aware of the risks of greenhouse and CO2 emissions for the planet, because all of these projects are really beautiful, really nice, but they are just concept today, and the concept is not really. So we have to try to give to this project a lot of time, and to give some time we have to reduce our CO2 emission and our greenhouse gases emissions. So thank you for your attention, and if you are more interested about floating cities, you have a lot of videos on YouTube and a big documentary which is really interesting. Thank you very much.